Good morning, everyone. It's marcusdezza here. I am the author of Book for the Guys. Hope you like the channel. Please like and subscribe and leave some comments today. What I got to talk to you about is the UK government has completely upped the narrative for war and preparing people for war. So a couple of articles have come in the last couple of days which have caught my eye. Okay, so I'll go through these very briefly. BBC Ed Davey, the leader of the Liberal Democrats, has suggested that £10,000 should be paid to new army recruits to join the army to rapidly boost the number of soldiers who can help the UK in this increasingly unpredictable world. Also talking about saying the government should distribute pamphlets to make sure every home is war ready to deal with blackouts and cyber attacks. That's another thing. He also calls Vladimir Putin of Russia barbaric. Moving on with the article, with the Guardian, their article is talking about how the UK is committing 5% of its GDP to defence by the year 2035, and this is part of UK's commitment to NATO. Sky News talks about how the UK is buying F-35 stealth jets that can carry nuclear warheads. Woohoo! Sky News also talks about how the UK must actively prepare for potential war in the homeland. So what you learn from this is totally, there's a few questions to this, but really what you got to realise is that the narrative has really been amplified in the last week in terms of how can I say, pre-programming people. Fear-mongering is another term I'd like to use for the UK population to prepare for war. However, there's a few things we need to talk about here, right? Okay. Firstly, I would say historically, do not believe these war narratives. We have been fed, I'm not going to say lies, no, but we've been fed sort of false narratives in terms of what happened in the likes of World War II, 9/11 and the War on Terror, even with what happened with 7th of October with Hamas in Israel, and even the invasion of Russia into Ukraine. Some of these narratives, if you do your own research, you'll realise that you've been given false narratives as well. So what I would say to people moving forward is you got to look out for some of these false flags that might happen in the UK or Europe. So again, look out for some false flags and question critically what is actually happening. So listen, Ed Davey is trying to recruit new soldiers to protect the borders of other lands when we cannot protect our own. So why should we send our sons and daughters to protect the borders of other countries when we can't even defend our own borders? It's ridiculous. The last 10 years, right, let me tell you this. The UK alone has received 599,000 asylum seekers into the UK between the years of 2015 to 2024. Now, obviously, some of those people might have been fleeing war zones. That's fair enough. However, there's quite a lot of lack of checks done on some of these people who are still coming into the UK on an industrial scale. Are there sleeper cells, terror cells in the UK? Who knows? God forbids there will be. But what I can tell you is, if there is going to be any sort of terror attacks, you will see the government really sort of pushing through with the legislation for everyone to have a digital ID, and that will, the result of this will be we'll be under more surveillance and our freedoms will become further eroded. Something else you've got to think about is with this military spending, okay, the implications mean more taxes and less benefits for people. So yeah, that's one thing. Also, you got to question, why on earth would Vladimir Putin want to invade Europe and the UK? Why? Russia is like the largest country on earth. It has 75 trillion, I repeat that, trillion USD worth of resources in its country. Yeah, it can run on its own without having to trade with other countries, to be fair. So why would Putin want to invade Europe? It just doesn't make no sense, okay? But let me tell you the reality of this. You will have the likes of BlackRock, the world's largest fund asset manager, who would love to go to war, who'd love to be a war with Russia, remove Putin, and the implications of this would mean the likes of BlackRock would have access to some of those vast wealth of resources that Russia has. So follow the money. Moving forward, something else you've got to learn about from an economic point of view: there is more money to be made in wars than there is in peaceful times, okay? Unfortunately, again, follow the money. Amount of trillions of dollars spent on weapons, towns and cities being destroyed and then having to be rebuilt. You know, some of the larger sort of multinational oil and gas companies come in and take resources and pipelines. So yeah, follow the money. The other thing is here is with this narrative of war, is our man Mr. Keir Starmer trying to play the sort of Churchill figure, war figure, and trying to do his bit for to try and win votes. Because sometimes when a country goes to war, yeah, the government in power typically does gain more votes. What I would also say as well, the implications of inscription. Are you prepared to send your children to fight for other countries? I don't know if I am. In fact, I'm not. So if there's any wind of that, I'm out here, and so are my children. Bugger that. But what I would say is this, right? Do notice a trend if inscription does come into play. You will see, if it involves women going to war as well, you will see the number of women becoming pregnant pretty quickly. Right, last but not least, I think something also when it comes to these sorts of wars, and there is definitely a bigger agenda going on in this world, and that is by going to war with the likes of Russia. Is this just another ways and means of trying to depopulate the world? Who knows? Who knows? I hope you enjoyed this video today. Please like and subscribe. Feel free to leave any comments, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.